Hello, beautiful people. I actually suffered through the Iowa debate between Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley, so you don't have to. To start things off, this crowd was definitely packed with donors because they're cheering and laughing at some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard from a candidate, and they're acting like they just made the biggest speech ever. So Ron is actually trying to come at it like he's the one who's not beholden to the donors, and Nikki Haley correctly pointed out, you're just mad because the donors are now with me, so they're basically bragging that they could sell themselves off more than the other person can. Ron tries to act like he beat the left in the state of Florida, and he's acting like him preventing China from buying land there is somehow beating the left. So Nikki Haley is bragging that she started a website called RonDeSantisLies.com. It's not like we have another candidate in this that you should be attacking. Y'all are just fighting for second place at this point. Nikki Haley also tried to make jokes that clearly were not funny, and it's obvious the crowd was paid to laugh at her things. They might as well have a sign saying applause, or please clap if you like Jeb Bush. They also both kept plugging their websites, acting like, hey, go here to hear the truth, but in reality, they probably want people to actually go there and donate to them, if people are actually suckers to actually donate to these people. The first decent attack Haley had was basically saying Ron DeSantis has flip-flopped on Ukraine, acting like his position has always been his position, but it's clear he's just trying to copy Trump. Nikki Haley went after Ron DeSantis for wanting to cut Social Security, which is weird to me because she says we need to raise the retirement age to 70, so don't act like you don't want to cut Social Security. And even Trump and Barack Obama have both made proposals on cutting Social Security, but when election time rolls around, they act like they don't ever want to cut it, and it's going to be there for everybody. Also, Nikki Haley said she agrees with Trump with almost everything, to which I'd say, why would I vote for you if you agree with Trump on everything? I would just want the real thing. She also said she didn't take things personally, but that's not true. I saw all these debates, and Vivek was going after her, and she was visibly getting pissed off with it. And then DeSantis was nice to actually see him try to attack Trump, not really effectively in my opinion, but then he also said that Gavin Newsom is less of a liar than Nikki Haley is. And then DeSantis goes after Nikki Haley, saying that she wasn't tough enough on China, and neither was Trump, which I find hard to believe because Trump was the only one actually saying that COVID might have came from a lab, and he was called a racist for this. And then Nikki Haley said that the COVID bills were a waste of money and that we shouldn't have passed them. So those checks that you all got for you and me, those were a waste of money, and we didn't need those at the time when everyone was losing their jobs. And then Haley was saying that how she's going to cut the federal gas tax, which is about 18 cents on every gallon to help middle-class Americans. And then liberals online are trying to pretend it's 2 cents. 18 cents and 2 cents is a pretty big difference. I kept actually getting kind of annoyed in this debate because they were asked questions and they wouldn't answer them. This is why I miss Chris Christie. He at least pointed out during these debates that nobody actually answers the questions. Probably the reason they had Chris Christie drop out is because these two are obviously the choice of the establishment, and we can't have someone pointing out that they don't actually answer questions. They both pointed out that we have a spending problem in DC, and I actually agree with this, but we would never touch the military budget. It's only your Medicare and Social Security they're going to go after. Hey, remember, when they say we can't afford it, no, we have chosen to not afford it. Because we could cut the military budget just a little bit, but no, they'll never touch that because they're both bought off by military contractors, especially Nikki Haley. And then Nikki Haley went after Ron DeSantis for raising the debt limit, which doesn't really make any sense to me because I guarantee you if Nikki Haley becomes president, she's going to be begging Congress to raise the spending limit. So it's only a thing that you use as a cheap political attack during campaigning. Once you get in office, or any of these politicians, they love the spending. I did think Ron DeSantis did a good job pointing out in this debate, if we can lower energy costs and actually unleash the American energy production, we can actually get inflation under control because that's the biggest cost contributor to your grocery bill. Because if it costs more money to ship things or bring things in, it's going to affect the price of everything. I think Ron DeSantis actually had a decent attack when he said that Trump was really soft on the border because he deported less people than Barack Obama. That is true. He also pointed out it was kind of funny that red states are sending people who are migrants here to blue states that are sanctuary cities saying we need to be more humane, and they're like, okay, you deal with the problem of the immigration. And now the sanctuary cities saying we're overrun. Well, you're getting a little taste of your own medicine there, acting like, oh, we have unlimited resources. Oh, wait, when they come here, never mind, we don't have unlimited resources. He also correctly pointed out that California now is going to give insurance to people who are here illegally. And don't get me wrong, if you want to do that, that's perfectly all right to me, but at least give Americans free insurance first. Also, I think it's important to point this out. It's not racist to want to enforce our immigration policies, but the powers that be have decided that you're not allowed to want that because they profit off of cheap labor and actually being able to threaten the immigrants here who are here illegally. Hey, we'll just deport your ass so they can take advantage of them. And then Nikki Haley comes out and says we should just give Ukraine a blank check in order to degrade Russia's military, to which I ask, how many more people in Ukraine need to die in order to get in a pissing contest with the Russians? And at this point, it just seems weird to me because there was a peace deal on the table early on in the war when Ukraine actually managed to take back certain territories and they were actually feeling the sanctions, and Russia actually tried to negotiate peace with Ukraine. They asked for some concessions like you demilitarize, agree to never join NATO, but they were killed by the UK and the West. And then Nikki Haley tries to equate what's going on with Ukraine with us after 9/11. You guys realize that after 9/11 we needed a lot of friends, she says. You know that Osama bin Laden was a CIA asset, and also that 15 of the 19 hijackers were from Saudi Arabia. Seems like our friends suck. And then I think Ron DeSantis correctly points out that you can't define victory in Ukraine. And also, we have homeless veterans here. We need to spend that money here in order to help them. But let's be honest, neither of them will spend money to help our homeless veterans because they're not in a lobby. And then they started going into the culture war crap. I just kind of skipped this. They both decided to affirm their support for Israel in absolutely everything they do. I think Nikki Haley's best point in the whole entire debate was when, in closing, she said, whenever it's me and Joe Biden, I destroy him by over 17 points. When it's Trump, it's more of a toss-up. And this is because of the anti-Trump vote. I also thought Ron had a decent closer as well. He basically said, I'm going to put Americans first and I'm going to get you results. I think overall, these debates are really hard to watch. I really missed Donald Trump back in 2016. He made politics interesting as far as the debates were concerned. And during his whole presidency was interesting. Doesn't mean I love everything he did in his presidency, but it definitely was entertaining, to which this debate was not.